Right, I'm looking forward to this, Ish. Mark Stevens, human rights lawyer. Very good morning. Welcome to Talk.
Morning, Jeremy.
Right, now do me a favour. I don't want to, because I want to get off on the right foot. If you were approached by Peter Mandelson or Prince Andrew, well, Andrew, yeah, would you take the case on?
I think I'd certainly have to think about it very carefully. I mean, these last 24 hours have turned discomfort into a crisis, and I don't think we've seen the start of it yet. I mean, for example, if these documents that Mandelson is supposed to have shared with Jeffrey Epstein could really fall into the category of misconduct in public office, which can be a criminal offence. And you don't have to have sort of corruption in the Hollywood sense. All it requires is a minister acting without a reasonable excuse in a way that harms the public interest. So I imagine that investigators are going to be looking closely at that. And whilst as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take any brief pretty much, obviously I can't mislead the court.
Police are reviewing allegations that Mandelson committed a criminal offence by leaking sensitive Downing Street emails whilst he was brought back into power by the then Prime Minister Gordon Brown, and inside information about the markets and the state of markets to the paedophile Epstein. Now, you've got a sense of humour, haven't you, Mark?
Yep.
So what sort of completely obscure law from the ECHR would a human rights lawyer find to get Peter Mandelson off if he was prosecuted?
Well, even human rights lawyers usually work to principle. I appreciate that the principles...
Not all of them, but come on, not all of them, Mark. Sorry, there's too many migrant stories I've heard, you know. What was it this morning? Let me throw this at you, human rights lawyer. Ready? An Albanian thief with a human rights lawyer has escaped deportation after saying to a judge who's obviously got 2 brain cells, no, I didn't, my husband made me steal it, so you can't send me back. And the judge went, OK. That is bloody ridiculous. Come on.
Yeah, it does sound a bit silly. But I think, you know, where we would come out as a defence lawyer, you know, the police are going to be looked at what was exactly leaked, whether it was genuinely confidential. At the moment, we have a suspicion that it might be, and whether Epstein had any commercial strategic interest in receiving it, all of which I think is up for grabs.
Yeah.
The question isn't really whether Epstein asked for the memo, it's whether Mandelson had any legitimate reason in sharing it with him.
Somebody sent me a text earlier.
That is, I think, the loose thread here that it's going to get pulled.
Somebody sent a text to me earlier, and you can answer this, you're the expert. Divulging, it's like inside information. It's is it a life sentence? Genuine question.
I don't think it's life, but it's certainly a sort of 10-year sentence. It can be very, very serious.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think, you know, if the allegations are true, this wasn't gossip that was being shared. It was leaking the Prime Minister's briefing to a convicted sex offender. It's the sort of thing that we call misfeasance in public office. But, you know, you can survive bad judgment in politics, but you don't survive sharing government secrets. And, you know, whether it was criminal, we'll yet to find out, I suspect, after the police investigation. It was certainly catastrophic judgment, wasn't it?
Interesting, Linda from Stalybridge, and I was going to ask you this, and some people would go, what? She said, just a question to your lawyer friend with Mandelson, if he sent legal documents from government to Epstein, isn't that treason?
No, it's not, unless they fall within a particular category and are a particular type of document. Obviously, as a minister, he will have signed the Official Secrets Act.
Yes.
I don't think there's any suggestion that he breached the Official Secrets Act. That doesn't seem to be the allegation here. The allegation seems to be that he's sharing sensitive stuff, which Epstein had no decent reason to receive. And I think, you know, if he did do that, then that's misconduct in a public office. You know, it's really a test based on whether he abused the trust that we as the public repose in ministers by sharing information wholly outside government without good reason.
We'll move the thing quickly, my friend. You're my favourite human rights lawyer ever, and I never thought I'd say that. The only human rights lawyer with a spring in his step and his hat.
It's a limited field.
Well, it is really when you defend people who shouldn't be in this country, but I'll take you to task on that. Andrew's a different kettle of fish. Well, he's not a different kettle of fish. He's a horrible, entitled human being. His world is unravelling as well, no longer titled, ostracised quite rightly. I know that people all morning have gone, what? Can you see a member or even an ex-member of the royal family being convicted in court at any time soon, Mark Stevens?
I can see it happening. I don't think it's close in any way, shape or form. Again, whilst it's misjudgment on the part of Andrew, that's obviously very clear, and it does also seem that his memory is incredibly fallible, because here's yet another woman that he's gallivanting on the floor with. I do think it may not be a criminal offence. I mean, that's a difficulty. He's obviously got political embarrassment. He's been asked to go by the Prime Minister and the Senate in America to go and testify.
He's not going to do that, though, is he? He's not going to go to America.
He's not going to, because they can't compel him, because he's based here. They can only compel American citizens. And I suspect when he got there, he would feel his lawyer's advice would be to take the fifth, to invoke the privilege against self-incrimination. And so in those circumstances, I think he's never going to go, however embarrassing that is. But I mean, you know, we've got to remember the survivors in this. You know, whilst the transparency, every step of the transparency validates what they've said for years, and that Epstein's influence was systemic and protected and tolerated, the DOJ have themselves created problems for those women, those survivors of the abuse of Epstein. They've revealed their medical records, STDs. They've revealed pictures of these women in the nude. This data dump has done damage to these women, as well as giving them verisimilitude and more detail to colour in the pictures that we have got from the detailed data sets that have been released.
See, this is interesting. Military veteran and former police officer. To Jeremy Kyle, morning. I won't say good. These photos during the rounds of supposed Andrew kneeling over some unknown female, which isn't a crime. This happens a lot on first aid courses, for example. Ever done one? Thank you. Paul B., a military veteran.
Well, I think both of us have done first aid courses. I don't think that is how I was taught. I don't think the sort of mouth-to-mouth resuscitation that we might be taught was really what we're seeing pictured there. But, you know, I may be entirely mistaken. You may see it very differently to me, Jeremy.
I don't know. Listen, genuinely really appreciate... Oh, just before you go, Clinton's also, I was going to say to you, agreeing to testify to Congress over those Epstein links. That out overnight. That's a bit of a development as well, isn't it? That's pressure for you.
It is, and they've been refusing. They're on the verge of being in contempt of Parliament, essentially, in America for not going. And so I think they had absolutely no choice. My prediction on that is that their memories will be incredibly fallible and they'll not remember very much.
Listen, great to have you. You're going to become my resident human rights lawyer. So when I get my next dreadful migrant story on, you're going to get absolutely battered. And we've loved having you on. I appreciate that. Mark Stevens, human rights lawyer, by far and away the best. I actually got he's all right. Oh, my God, there's more coming out. Sarah Ferguson told Jeffrey Epstein no woman has ever left the royal family with her head intact in emails sent after a 2010 cash for access sting, claiming she'd been hung out to dry. 22 minutes.